What's up, YouTube? We back with another review. Today we're going to be reviewing Gachiakuta episode 19. Let's get it. So it starts off with Zordon, the head of the Raiders. He's looking down on a failed object. He explains how he tried over and over to try to create his own entries into the Watchmen series. After the beginning scene, we go back to him and Rudo. The anime then replays the scene where he offers up the Watchmen boots to this weird creature. And as the creature observed the boots, Zordon then explains to Rudo, he says, "Your gloves, my coat, and these boots are all a part of the Watchmen series." And as soon as he says this, Rudo is shocked. And as we continue, Zordon then explains the lore around the Watchmen series. He says the objects from this Watchmen series are stronger and older than any other vital instrument. He also says that their power is unmatched, and the original owner of it must hold tremendous power too. And while he's talking, the creature, after observing the boots, starts to transform. Shortly after, the camera pans back to Zordon. He then explains to Rudo his failings of trying to create more entries into the Watchmen series. And as the anime goes to a flashback of him holding one of his failed objects, he grows annoyed and he tosses it away. And after walking away, he feels a powerful energy. And suddenly this object transforms into a trash beast. And as we go back to the present day, he's explaining this exact incident to Rudo. He says he made an artificial trash beast out of a vital instrument. He then says to Rudo, "If you've seen one before, you actually fought against one." Suddenly then Rudo has a flashback of him and Rio fighting against this trash beast and discovering a vital instrument after they defeated him. After this flashback, Rudo gets triggered by another flashback of him when he was young. The anime shows him getting talked about and bullied because of his dad being a murderer. The villagers around town say he'll be the same thing. And as the mob steady attacks him, an image of Recto comes and he says, "Hey, they're only talking because they don't know you." He comforts them and says, "Don't worry about them. They'll soon understand." Continuing along, Rudo awakens from his sleep suddenly. It seems like he's in pain, he's struggling. And as he's squirming around in pain, Recto suddenly arrives, and like a good parent, he nurses him back to health. But even as he wraps his scarred hands and feeds him, Rudo continues to have these struggles and pains. He's actually struggling to eat, and he's looking sick. Recto is like, "What do I do?" And as time goes by and months go by, Rudo gets even worse. And out of desperation, Recto brings home some strange-looking gloves. But we all know these gloves aren't regular. These are the Watchmen series gloves, and they would change Rudo's life forever. And suddenly after, the anime shows Rudo piecing together the puzzle of the Watchmen series. He's surprised. He says, "Wait, my gloves are part of a series?" Zordon then tells him, "Yes, your gloves, my coat, and Ammo's boots are all part of the Watchmen series." Suddenly, Rudo thinks to himself, "Hold on, wait. How would Recto be able to get these gloves if part of the series is on the ground and we live in a spear?" After this small little cliffhanger, we go back to Zordon. He asks Rudo, he says, "Wait, you knew nothing about vital instruments until you came to the ground. How can somebody like you get something powerful as the Watchmen series gloves?" He grows irritated. He says, "And not only that, you became a giver with this vital instrument, and you didn't even go insane?" He stares at Rudo with a demonic face, and to me it seems like he's jealous. Rudo's become a giver and haven't lost his mind, and deep down inside of him, he knows he's lost some of his sanity. And as we move along, Zordon starts to give him lore about the Watchmen series. He explains to Rudo that all of these entries into the Watchmen series were used by one man. Rudo is shocked. Zordon continues to give him the lore on the Watchmen series. He says, if a person with all their life needs met happened to obtain one of these Watchmen series vital instruments, power will flow through them bit by bit and they'll eventually go crazy. Rudo then says, "Well, I've had these gloves for a while and I haven't went crazy." Zordon then says, "Yes, that's because we use it the normal way. We're different." He then explains, he said, "You and me must have lost our humanity through a traumatic event in our life." Rudo looks sad and down. Zordon then explains, he says, "But don't feel bad. This is what helps us gain this overwhelming power." And as he says this, power shoots and flows through his body. He's reached some type of new level. And next, he tells Rudo his ultimate goal. He says, "I want to gather all the Watchmen series entries, put them together and see how powerful I could be. And in doing this, I could reach my ultimate goal. And to do this, I must experiment." He says his other experiments failed in the past, but they wasn't a waste because out of these failures, he actually made an artificial trash beast. And to Rudo and the rest of the cleaners' surprise, they're literally inside of the artificial trash beast, and they're moving towards the spear. Zordo then explains, he says, we're going to cross the border on this trash beast, and we're going to really see who's going to live or die. Soon after, we go back to the rest of the cleaners fighting their foes. And as the grounds they're battling on starts to shake, they begin to get curious. But they'll soon find out that they're actually riding on a trash beast. At first, they're shook and they're shocked, but eventually they'll lock in. And as it sets in that they're going against a trash beast, they go insane. And one by one, they all start to unlock their vital instruments. But as we get to the final scene of the anime, out of all the fights going on, we get back to the battle between Bundus versus Deer and Bro. And after realizing they have to escape the trash beast, they come up with a plan. And then working together, we'll finally see the power of these two. Because as Bro uses his vital instrument, the claw, he actually launches Deer towards the wall. And as Deer punches the wall, it seems like it doesn't work. It causes no damage at all. We then go back to the enemy Bundus. He's talking to the other cleaner, Bro. He says, hey, stop him now. He's not strong enough to break the wall. Bro says, okay. What you shouldn't do is stop a kid while he's making progress. And as we get to the final part of the anime, it showcases Deer Santa's full power. Drain. He has the ability to every time he hits something, he drains the energy out of him. And not only that, he gains power. And in the final scene, that's exactly what it showcases. Because as he uses his power, Drain, he slowly begins to penetrate the wall of the trash beast. And as he's punching away, it looks as if he's getting stronger and stronger. Is he gonna break through the wall? That's something we wouldn't know because the anime dramatically ends after this scene.